Hey guys, what is up? This is Dan from Rebellious Noise, and we are here to talk our reactions to the Royal Rumble.
I said, Dan, you're eliminated, mate. Get out of it.
I am joined by Scott, Rob, and Lucas to talk 2021 Royal Rumble. Anyway,
I'm glad you stuck with it from the predictions. I like it.
For those of you that couldn't understand, obviously, I am Dan. I'm joined by Scott, Rob, and Lucas. We're here to talk Royal Rumble 2021. We are going to obviously kick off, as usual, with Scott Warren cooking time.
Oh, yeah. To be honest, it was pretty much the same as last month. Yeah, some chicken chunks. I don't know if I had the chicken chunks last time, though. I definitely had some sort of chicken, some fried chicken it was, with a nice bit of Frank's hot sauce. Again with a Chicago Town, but this time I went with the cheeseburger one. And let me tell you something, boys. Ooh. It tastes more like a cheeseburger than it does a pizza. Very strange. But it was all right. I ain't complaining. And on top of that, I had a few chips.
We're going to have to do them as like little spoof videos, mate. Like little side videos.
Yeah. Cooking with Scott, yeah.
Yeah. So the pre-show match was, thankfully, the one match that we didn't predict. That was the Women's Tag Team Championship match, where the team of Charlotte Flair and Asuka defended and subsequently lost the titles to the team of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. So, did we see much of this?
Well, unfortunately, the cooking kind of took away some of my time there. But I did see bits and, running the mill, kind of what you'd expect from the match, I imagine. The only thing that was weird to me was Charlotte's weird promo before it and her lingering around as if she was definitely going to turn on Asuka, but then obviously didn't. Very strange that. And, it was an all right match. The right decision, though. I mean, what was the point in asking Charlotte being champs?
Yeah, I mean, I saw bits of it. It was all right. It was short. I think it probably would be weird for Charlotte being on the pre-show, I guess. I guess, obviously...
It made the pre-show feel big.
Yeah, I guess so. A title change as well. There's always... it's always good when that happens, I guess, in the pre-show. It gets people involved. But I didn't think that Charlotte would get pinned, though. I thought that if they were going to lose, Asuka would get pinned. I'm guessing maybe they were going to turn at one point. I don't know. It's been a weird week with the women's matches where they didn't announce. Oh, my cat's going crazy. Whole table over here.
Your cat's coming out as number 31, mate.
Yeah, stay there. They had like a whole week, but they didn't obviously advertise on their website the Sasha Banks versus Carmella match. And then they put this match up. So at one point they must have felt that this was going to be obviously the big women's match of some sort, or the main show women's match. And then they obviously added back, only I think the day of, I think. It got added finally to WWE.com. Like, finally decided to acknowledge that they're having a women's title match.
It felt like they really weren't sure about a lot of things on this card. Like, a lot of the booking seems like they changed their mind a lot, which I'm sure we're going to get into. Some obvious breadcrumbs they've left for that, but yeah.
Like, it's like with the, as you say, with like the Sasha Carmella thing, they'd announced it literally 2 weeks beforehand. They're like, oh, you're going to face Reginald tonight, Carmella at the Rumble. They've mentioned it 3 or 4 times on the SmackDown. And then suddenly it's like, okay, so where's the graphic? Where's everything else for it? It's like Michael Cole has mentioned it about 4 times on the show, like a week before. Then he mentioned it on the show on the 2 days before. And then finally we get the graphic. I mean, thankfully, obviously, we'd already done our predictions for that match, going off of what Michael Cole had said. So, for once, Michael Cole was right. It was boss time.
I mean, I'd done the same as you, mate. Well, I would say cooking time, but I ordered my pizza. I won't say the brand because we're not being paid for it.
No, mate. So, for Chicago Town, that's already a staple in the show.
But it was quite tasty. The meat to dough ratio was good.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it was all right. And then the chicken strips, beautiful.
Yeah, chicken as well. Nice. I'm a fan.
I had pizza too.
Oh, you had pizza as well?
I had pizza too, and I had veggie chicken strips. I don't know what you mean. I had the Bird's Eye got this new range, and in a supermarket, which I won't name, they're on a really stupid offer of £2 each or 5 for £5. So I bought 10. So I've got a whole shelf in my freezer full of, like, you know, fake chicken dippers, fake chicken nuggets, fake chicken everything. So yeah, I've got the whole drawer now.
We've all had a pretty good weekend, it seems.
Yeah, I was happy. I was very happy.
I'll be the boring one and say I didn't actually eat during it because I was asleep up until like 11:30 and then got up at 11:30.
Old man Dan,
I pre-ordered at about 7 o'clock, then took my nap. Then when I woke up, the food was waiting for me.
Waking up to a pizza, mate. I like it. I guess we should talk a bit more about the wrestling though, and Ric Flair distraction.
Woo!
That's the one. That was interesting. And obviously, you won't spend too much time talking about it because it comes up again later. But if you're going to do this storyline, then cool, run with it. So yeah, I guess he's at least knuckling down, like, and actually now willingly having his daughter get beat up, you know. So
I'm still surprised as to what it actually was that he handed Lacey, because it looked like he was trying to put like brass knuckles on her hands, but then you look at her hands, there's nothing there. Yeah, it was like whether she'd put something inside her hand,
and it looked like she proper punched her as well. Like it seemed like there's quite a connection at the time. I was like, oh, you know. So
I think it's probably because of the position that she was in. It was kind of awkward to like, you know, try and. But yeah, anyway, talking of Ric Flair. Anyway, I know you recently, Scott, sat down and did a review of the new Ric Flair trainers that are out.
There's the
by
Ric Flair
Adidas
drip
right
over there.
Oh,
check that out on the channel. Nice little segue there, Dan. Yeah, appreciate it. Check it out. Yeah, we've done a nice little video. So yeah, go back and watch it.
And how many? What was your woo count in it?
Well, that'll be a spoiler, mate. Go watch it, and yeah, you'll see. I was trying not to woo.
It's hard though. Like
it is hard.
The sheer mention of the name Ric Flair, just like, or anytime anyone does a chop.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I think overall, as I say, it was for me. I caught the sort of tail end of the match. It was, from what I saw, it was pretty decent, the ending of it. I think it does further, obviously, the Lacey Evans and Charlotte storyline. I still don't know like what the heck is going on with them though, and like the whole Ric Flair thing. It's just, you know, you're in a global pandemic. Why are you getting a 70-odd-year-old man on weekly TV is beyond me. But you know, is what it is. Like you've got a whole roster full of younger men. You could have just used one of them.
I mean, storyline probably could have waited, but yeah.
And the thing is, Charlotte's got her real life partner on in the company as well, so you could have just like maybe used Andrade or someone close to Andrade. So, but anyway, as we say, Charlotte and Asuka obviously losing the women's tag team titles to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler in that match. So, yeah, should we move on then to the main card?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So we got Pyro, obviously. So we kicked off the show, surprisingly, really, with a WWE Championship match, which was Drew McIntyre defending against Goldberg. Now, was I the only one that had a real gripe with Goldberg coming out and then having to stand in the ring for pretty much 3 or 4 minutes while an entire promo package was playing?
Yeah, it seems a bit pointless. And then they do it quite a bit lately where, I mean, they do it at live shows as well, where they kind of play something and then they dim the music and then they bring it back up, you know? It just seems even stupider when there's no one there, you know? Like, it just seems weird.
What's even worse is Goldberg came out with the security guards, but there was no one in the arena to jump him. So he just come out with them for no reason.
No, ain't the security guards to protect, I don't know. Why do they?
Who are they protecting?
No, they're meant to be because Goldberg's dangerous.
Yeah, so. Yeah. But I think it's a bit like MMA-like, isn't it? I think that was what he's claiming now.
Yeah, but there's no one around. Who's he going to attack?
The locker room door.
That door, mate.
Which, to be fair, he didn't look like he had any red marks on his head, so he's probably refrained. No. He's probably had a quiet word in his ear and been like, Bill, don't be headbutting doors, mate.
Yeah. You know what? He looks in good shape as well. I thought he looked in good shape.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, and, you know, the match was... It was one of those where we kind of did touch on it a little bit. We said it doesn't need to be anything that's too long. It was what it needed to be. It was just two guys hitting their power moves. The official match time went 2.5 minutes. That's all it needed to be. Drew came out on top. Goldberg, obviously, raising his hand at the end. Thankfully, Goldberg didn't win. And yeah, apart from story of the night, apart from Lucas, it was points all round, pretty much. And yeah, I mean, obviously, Scott, you lost. Well, so you got your point for Drew winning, But then immediately we had to take that off because you predicted the Miz was going to cash in.
All right, Rob, calm down, mate. Like, ain't that funny?
He's loving it.
Because you predicted Miz was going to come and make it a triple threat. So, just interested to know. So, what was your guys' thoughts on this? Obviously, it's not a very long match to talk about, but
yeah, I mean, like you said, exactly what it should have been. The barrier spot was good, although as soon as that happened and nothing happened after that, I was like, I don't think this Miz thing is going to happen, because I was like, that was the best time to do it when they were both kind of out, even though Goldberg obviously got up. But if they did that spot towards the end, Goldberg would have been a bit beat as well, so he would have took long to get up and it would have made more sense. So I kind of saw that Miz thing not really happening after that. You mentioned the time. Everybody talks about Goldberg having short matches and, obviously it being seen as quite a negative thing. But I feel like WWE didn't acknowledge that other than his WCW kind of era. Because in the early WWE, like 2003, didn't have really short matches then. So, the kind of squash stuff, obviously in recent years, it's been weird. And I almost felt, and this happened a few times, the bit where it's like, the match hasn't officially started. I felt like they could have just started it and had that part of the match, and then they could have had loads. The match, it could have made Goldberg look like he actually does do a 7-8 minute match, But I think they actually like the fact that Goldberg only has like 2-minute matches, because they even mentioned it on the pre-show, like, if this goes longer than this, Goldberg might lose. And I think that's, I think they're kind of consciously aware of, and they're trying to. It's not just Goldberg can't work that long and that's all he does, few moves, so we're going to keep it short. I think now it's a tactical thing to keep his matches short as well. So I thought that was an interesting point. But yeah, the match was good. Like, these kind of finisher-based matches are always a bit weird when you compare them with everything else on the show. But what an explosive way to start the show and set in the fears that everyone started to have at this point, that Goldberg was going to do something else later in the night. So, I'm sure we'll get there later.
Yeah, for me, my issue is, I'm happy Drew won. But once Goldberg, when I say look strong, he normally looks strong, but I was more convinced with Drew than I was when Goldberg faced against Brock. I don't know why. It just seemed like they clicked a bit more. But my issue is, no matter how many times I can watch newer Goldberg matches, it reminds me of, if you ever start a WWE game or F game back in the day, and you give yourself all the finishes, you just hit them straight away. I just feel like, if you're going to tell me a story, tell me a story. I don't want to see your moves. I know what you do. I want to see the story and get engrossed in the match. Like, if you're going to show me a 2-minute match of just finishes, I can do that on the WWE game. So that, no matter what I see, if that's what I get so downhearted about it, because I'm invested in the story. And the thing was there, it was good. The build was great.
You can't help but devalue the finisher either. Like, now, if you face Brock or Goldberg, your finisher will be kicked out of, because that's the style of their matches. Like, not less so Brock, but he does have matches like that as well. So, like, you're gonna have, so the Claymore, as protected as it's been, it hasn't against those two guys. Because it's the only moves they use in those matches is finisher. So very weird.
And that's my issue. So, but other than that, I did enjoy it. I liked the moment, the spear for the barricade. I just felt like, as you rightly said, Scott, if they'd have done that and then it was a stagger, or Goldberg rolled in the ring and then rolled back out, and they had started the match just before, it would have made it longer. And I don't think I would have been so irritated, because there would have been more of the match. But the fact that it started and then Drew had to get up, and it kind of put him as an underdog when he's not really. He's the champion.
And he started that whole thing. Like, he did a weird heelish kind of thing where he went headbutt, kick, boom, knock you out of the ring, Like, that was really weird, out of character. It was like, this whole storyline's been, to be fair.
It's been really weird. So I liked the match, but I couldn't get behind it, sort of thing. So, but yeah, if anyone else disagrees, then fair enough. But it was just odd.
I think they faffed about a bit. Obviously, I think it was about 12 minutes all in before the match actually officially started. Like, when they, obviously the entrances and the introductions and then the headbutt and a bit outside. I guess maybe they were thinking to tease, obviously, the cash-in kind of thing. I guess that was their thinking. Everyone's now on Twitter going, with Miz, come out, Miz. And obviously he didn't. And we'll get to Miz later, believe me. We will get to Miz later. I've spoke a lot about Goldberg. I'm a big fan of Goldberg. Did a whole podcast about it. But I think with Goldberg, not so much with Lesnar, but definitely with Goldberg, like I've always just seen it as his matches exist and it's their own universe. And you can't judge or compare them to anything else within wrestling. And it gets very tricky because every kind of smart fan will tell you that Goldberg doesn't have good matches. He doesn't have long matches. He hasn't got moves, so he can't have good matches. But he's, there are Goldberg matches. If you go on Wrestling Observer for long enough, you'll see he's got 4-star matches. Against Dolph Ziggler, it was 3. He had a 3-star match, like at Wrestling Observer, and which is, and there was 3 moves, so a star per move, basically. But essentially, so he's just above and beyond like a lot of the criticism that people give him. In terms of this match, though, I feel that they are maybe looking to obviously retire Goldberg eventually. And so it is a case of now, like, they're weakening him up. So essentially, when he came in, he was strong and he beat Brock. That was great. He's beaten The Fiend. He won the title off Owens in quick succession. But now at the stage of he lost to Undertaker in Saudi. Oh, now he's losing to Braun Strowman. Oh, now he's into Drew. And slowly but surely you're getting away. But I think with like Brock and Goldberg, they're Superman. They're the kind of video game level boss. They're the kind of coming to your video games, like, but let's do something like a Street Fighter. They're like when you finally complete the game and everyone is at the max, you have every single option for every single character. They're those characters, if that makes sense. Everyone else is somewhere along the rung, of those characters. But yeah, no, I thought it was okay. I was hoping that Goldberg would win. I just thought that he would, but I guess third time unlucky. The only reason I said on part one was I thought that as he hadn't won the WWE Championship, it's just that odd kind of thing. He hasn't won it, and he is obviously it's weird now to think of him more as a WWE guy and a WCW guy in some respects, especially modern day fans who obviously weren't familiar with his original run. He's been in WWE essentially since 2003 with a massive gap in between. He hasn't been in WCW for almost 20 years. Over 20 years. He was injured right at the end, wasn't he? Before it closed. So he hasn't literally been in WCW for over 20 years. That makes you feel old. So I think I'll leave my point there.
Well, you mentioned WWE title, though. You don't forget, there's always WrestleMania. So who knows?
Oh, true.
Yeah, there's somebody a bit later on, though, who we're going to get to, who's got a decision to make as to, which championship he is going to challenge for at WrestleMania.
And her as well. And her.
Yeah, exactly. Then we move on to the match, which thankfully we'd predicted, and it was only officially announced on WWE.com
Touch and go all week.
2 days before the event. And that was the SmackDown Women's Championship, which was Sasha Banks versus Carmella. So we all, except Lucas, again, correctly predicted the winner of the match, and that was the boss, Sasha Banks. Thoughts on this match, guys?
My first note is there needs to be a Did Somebody Say Just Boss remix. So for our American viewers, Snoop Dogg does a Just Eat video, Just Eat advert over it. Do you know there's a Australian version of that as well called Menu Log? Look it up. It's the same company. They got a different name, and it's the same ad. They just reshot Snoop's parts where he's kind of even the J.
Did you sing in Australian?
He's not. He doesn't put the accent on though. But I mean, to be fair, he don't put an English accent on for our one. But yeah, just a little pointer there. But yeah, I'd like to see that little remix. Right. So Reginald. Same spots really
socks,
happened
mate.
a few times. You what?
You need to get some socks.
He needs to get some socks.
Yeah, he wears no socks. Reginald.
Have you not noticed? He literally wears the trousers. It's this new fashion thing where they wear the trousers halfway up their bloody legs. And
but he might be wearing ankle
socks.
Ankle socks.
Yeah,
I think he probably is. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I just got freaked out because I was literally holding my foot with my sock on at that time when you said that. I was like, what are you doing with my socks? I thought you had another camera in the room. But yeah, so Reginald doing the same old stuff really. As much as I enjoy it, it's a lot of like, I'm going to catch this one and I'm going to catch that one and I'm going to do some acrobatic stuff. So yeah, but hey, I enjoy it. It it was cool. The catch of Sasha, which goes into like a head scissors after that, was quite impressive. So that was good. Then obviously he's sent back as well. And then Carmella does that scary looking scorpion landing of a dive almost. Which, yeah. But at the same time, again, like it didn't go wrong. She was okay. And it looked really good. You know, like it's on that kind of barrier where it's about to be super dangerous. But it was, you know, it was a close one. But yeah, it ended up looking good at least. But yeah, decent match. Again, another one where I think you'd look at it and go exactly what it needed to be. It just, yeah, Sasha continues having the title. And I don't know where Carmella goes from here. But yeah. We'll see. And also, quickly before I pass it on, I just want to mention as well the interesting kind of reversal into the bank statement, which was literally Carmella just dragging her arm, and then she's like, well, no, I'm taking control of your arm now, twisting you straight into the bank statement. So I thought that was quite a unique way to get into a move by just like reversing, not a move, but like a regular part of wrestling when you're pulling your opponent so that you can pin them away from the ropes sort of thing. So yeah, really enjoyed that little bit of sequence.
No, yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought the one last month was better. It might have been because, like you say, Scott, I think a lot of the same spots with Reginald were repeated. So essentially, it wasn't as new, as fresh as it was last month. The only reason why I said Carmella is I thought that they might do something different, you know, but they decided not to, which I'm actually happy with because, you know, I don't think Carmella's the right person to be champion, but she's obviously with, is it 2 pay-per-views before Mania now? So there was that chance that they could switch it back. You know,
2 announced anyway.
You never know.
Probably this goes up. Yeah, no, it was okay. Inoffensive stuff, really. Yeah, Sasha still looks like she should be the one holding that championship. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think the only thing for me that made me go ooh was that, as you said, the scorpion landing on the dive. The first time they showed it, it was such a great angle that it looked like it was her head that snapped and then her body that bent over after. And then when I watched the replay, I see her arms go down and it was just her back that bent. And I kind of like relieved a bit. But I see it and I was like, are they going to throw an X up? Like I was so worried that the way she landed, it took me back to, do you remember the Trish and Lita dive?
Oh, yeah.
And it took me back to that and I'm thinking, you know, regardless if she's a great wrestler or not, no one deserves to have that sort of injury, you know, a career-threatening injury. So I was really worried. Then when
it was a relief when she got in the ring, she's like trash talking and that. That's when I was like, oh, she's fine.
Yeah, it looked like she face planted and then slid along on her face for like.
Yeah, it didn't look comfortable.
Awful.
Yeah, it didn't look great. But other than that, it was like you said, the match was what it needed to be. We kind of seen what was going to happen with them previously anyway. I like the fact that they throw that Reginald as well. That was, you know, that's always good when the heel gets scared, like their valet. I was going to say caddy then. It's not golf. But yeah, so it gets the valet out and, you know, they've got to kind of do it on their own. You know, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was what it was supposed to be. And, you know, it was a good filler match, you know, I guess. But yeah, I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I think exactly like what you guys have all said, really. It's like, I thought it was everything it needed to be. You know, Sasha obviously tapping Carmella out. It's, you know, the scorpion dive thing, as you guys said, looked nasty at first, but, you know, thankfully Carmella's okay. Yeah, just enjoyed the match. That's pretty much it, really, for me for that one. So following the SmackDown Women's title match, we had an absolute, well, in my opinion, an awful music performance. And then we go straight into the Women's Royal Rumble match. And much like Lucas, looks like you've moved. So you've been eliminated from your room and you've reappeared. He's done the old, what everyone thought was going to happen with Alexa Bliss, like leaving and then respawning as something else, but you've just respawned somewhere else. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we move into the Women's Royal Rumble match.
I'll quickly say though, I didn't mind the music performance. It wasn't that bad, but just putting it out there. I don't want to be all negative.
I don't know what you were saying.
Well,
Booker T.
I mean, I kind of figured that, mate. You're not.
It sounded good. I mean, but it could have been
the actual song sounded better than the live version because the mix was quite bad. Like the backing track was too low. But when I saw the real song, like the music video, I was like, I'm not sure. But then after a while, I was doing that funky dancing as if Booker T was standing in the middle of my room.
Yeah. I think it was difficult because they're not treating it like a music performance. They're treating it like it's part of the show, so like a promo.
Yeah.
Whereas if they had just filmed it separately, like on Graham Norton, when they kind of have like a music performance, and the performance is filmed separate. It's filmed with its own sort of way, and the audience only react before and afterwards, kind of thing. Whereas this one, if you still have the Thunderdome sound, people allegedly cheering this guy, and fair enough, some people might know him.
Yeah.
But I don't think, you'd be at if you were at like a concert, fair enough.
Yeah.
But if you just sat at home, are you really going to sit there cheering and wooing while someone's apparently trying to, sing a song? I don't know.
They probably could have, shot it in the backstage bit in that, which we see later on, that other ring. They could have shot it in that with some cool lighting. Booker T stood in the middle of it.
Yeah, cool lighting.
Or the Thunderdome. You like the ring in the Thunderdome. Use graphics. Yeah. They could have done that. But
they could have made it like a mini music video.
Yeah, exactly. But like you say, Lucas, it's kind of a bit like how they do in Graham Norton. But I do want to quickly mention, something I hate us Brits do is all TV performances like that. The annoying the whole song. It drives me mad. It never suits the song. Like, you've never heard the song before. Doesn't make any sense. It always ends up being out of time. It drives me absolutely insane. It's one of the worst things about our culture.
No, on the back end of that is after two lines usually. Especially if it's kids and stars in their eyes, something. The audience start applauding.
It just raises up. Whoa!
You get two lines into the song and the audience go, "Yeah, well done."
They're hardly going to turn around and go, "Mate, you're shit."
No, but it is stars in the eyes. That's quite a throwback reference there, but it is always there because they go, "Oh, he's actually quite good." Or like, all those bloody crappy talent shows when it's like a really like out there kind of person. They're either like really antisocial or like, don't traditionally look beautiful or whatever. And then it's like, oh my gosh, they're not mad. They're a good singer.
So we now like the person. But look, okay, well that's X Factor over. What are we up to? That's the Women's Rumble.
We cover it all, mate. Food, music on this episode.
And talking of obviously covering everything, you do a podcast that also covers quite a lot of things as well. Covers TV, and it also is going to be covering the Royal Rumble. I understand.
That's true.
That's you sitting down with your recurring guest, Tom.
Recurring guest. I've actually got Tom to do another wrestling chat with me again. So it's been a while since we usually do the main wrestling shows, but we haven't done a Talking Beans for wrestling at least since last WrestleMania. So it's going to be
big match. Tom back again. Yeah,
it's going to be a lot to go over. If you like wrestling podcasts with a bit more of a funny twist, because it's mainly us just making jokes and doing crap impressions, then check it out. It's going to be a good laugh.
It's worth a listen. Really. Definitely worth a listen.
Oh, cheers, mate. Yeah.
I mean, come on, like
you've been on the show, so yeah.
I'm biased then, aren't I?
But yeah, so shall we move on then to the Rumble?
Let's go.
So we move on now to the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, as you may have seen from the videos that we did, we each had a random pick, which we just picked a number out of random. That was our number 4. Both Royal Rumbles. Dotted throughout this chat, we are going to have our reaction videos to when our numbers come up. So just to go through them again, Lucas got number 10, I got number 13, Rob got number 21, and Scott got number 29. So throughout the match, obviously, the match started with the first two competitors, which were Bayley and Naomi. Now, I didn't see the Naomi one coming. I thought it was going to be Bianca Belair at the start. Obviously, we went through our picks. I picked Rhea Ripley to win. Scott, you picked Bayley to win. Rob, you picked Bianca Belair. And Lucas, you picked Lana.
Which I did get a bit worried about when she came out. Suddenly, it got real. And I was like, what if she does win?
It's about to go down.
It came close to it. It came close.
Yeah.
It wasn't that out there of a pick, I don't think.
So thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble. Like, we saw a few like appearances from NXT people, and we saw 4 non-contracted or however
legends,
free agents / legends returning in the match. One of them obviously coming at Lucas at your number. One came in Rob at your number. Oh, Victoria. Good pick, Lucas. Finally.
Oh, Victoria. Oh, I was hoping she wouldn't come back this time, though. She needs fans. It's unfair.
And you know,
so
it's
happy.
kind of like what we were discussing on the other show. It's like one of them, you feel at least one was wasted on an empty arena, so to speak. But yeah. So I mean, we'll get into it. Obviously, kicking off with the return of Naomi, Bianca Belair coming out third. And I thought my luck was in. I said Billie Kay was going to be the first one out. Coming out at number 4, I'm like, oh, she's just going to get chucked out. Didn't go down like that, but...
Yeah, I was actually shocked. When it Shotzi Blackheart that went out first?
Yeah, so Shotzi went out first. So yeah, that was the other thing, obviously, that we all picked who we thought was going out first. I said Billie Kay. Lucas said Tamina. And Scott and Rob, you both said Peyton Royce. So we were kind of... Well, I would say we were along... similar lines, but none of us were anywhere.
They were all wrong.
Yeah. All similar in the fact that we all suck. As far as those, quickly touching on those like legends and returns and stuff like that. Like I said on the previous show, on the predictions and in our little chat while we were watching it, like it was a shame to see Victoria come out to no fans. Like she's not going to get that opportunity now. That big surprise. Sure, she could come out next year if they do it in front of fans by then. But it won't be the same, and it's a real shame. But then how do you turn down that phone call from WWE saying, do you want to come back and be in a Rumble? So I completely understand it. And don't get me wrong, I love seeing it. I thought she was great. It was cool seeing her match up against this generation. One of those from that previous generation that I wouldn't mind seeing get a new contract, to be honest. So
I'll be down for that.
Yeah, and then obviously, like you mentioned earlier, with Alicia Fox, Rob, was your random pick. How'd you feel about that, mate?
I mean, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
Going by my reaction, I was anticipating someone really good.
Here comes 21, Rob's pick. Who you got, mate?
Be someone good.
Alicia Fox. Oh, she ain't gonna win, but good to see her.
Oh, for sake! Why?
Alicia Fox. What the? She ain't winning.
No, that was it. I said, no.
To be fair though, mate, she won a title.
I was going to Atlanta. Well, yeah, I mean, I said in the prediction video, I could see a title change, the 24/7 going in, right? I didn't say someone was going to win it, but I said the title change will happen. So, do I get a point for that?
Oh, no, you didn't. You didn't. It was a bonus point. You know what? Last night, I actually thought, you know what? It's a weird thing that is random pick won a title. Might not won the match, but she won a title, and he predicted that. So, part of me last night was thinking, is that worth a point? But we didn't discuss it, mate, and you didn't lock in the bonus point prediction. So,
I'm impressed.
It was strange as well. R-Truth coming out at number 21. You're thinking, oh, is he going to then subsequently then come out in the men's one at 21?
Yeah. So I thought it was like I forgot which Rumble I'm in sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we touched on obviously Victoria. That was your number, Lucas. Come out at number 10. So were you happy with your?
Yeah, no, I think so. It was a big return. Obviously, she didn't win. When she came out, I knew that she wouldn't win. I don't think anyone thought she would win, but I think. I think she's someone who, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to kind of reintegrate with the company in the same way that other people from her era and even afterwards have done. I mean, because when you consider that Beth Phoenix is already in the Hall of Fame, a commentator, done a Rumble spot, had a Mania return, and is younger and was on the roster about 5 years after Victoria, was on it. But yeah, no, I was happy. I think I'll be down for seeing her doing a short run. And this is where it gets tricky, and maybe this is for another time, but I think, obviously, the situation where we find ourselves in now with the male talent is also being mimicked in the female talent, where we need the old lot to start coming back. But it's just a case of, like, how do you do that? Do you give them, do you give it someone like Victoria, you know, like a couple of matches with someone? Do you give them a short full-time run? You know, it is obviously difficult because the current generation, I think, could really learn a lot from the generation that came before them, I think. But no, I was happy with the pick overall. I was happy that she got a little spot there with the Iconics, and then they were obviously doing finishing in the thing. Something which I disliked in both Rumbles, though, I'll say it now so I don't have to say it in the second one, and perhaps you won't probably realise this, is the amount of eliminations that were taking place during people's entrances, because they missed Bayley.
Close, yeah.
Or the amount of spots as well. Like Bianca Belair and Naomi, you had to run this spot twice. The first time they tried it during someone's entrance. The spot, to be fair, wasn't even that good. The whole spot when they were hanging from the with their feet underneath the ropes and the thing, and they both kind of that bounce thing back up. Yeah. But if you kind of look back, they did. They kept dumping each other out the same way, so with intention to obviously land them together. Yeah. But they kept getting told by referees like, no, not now, not now, not now. And there's looking, and even like when Victoria finally got to her widow's peak, it was during someone's entrance. So it was just like, oh, it's just, you know, it's a little. And in the men's one, it was the exact same thing as well. I don't know. And you touched upon, I looked at some of the gaps. Dan, you talked about it last night. Some of the gaps were not 90 seconds. They were clearly over 2 minutes. But look, overall, I think this Rumble was good. It was better than the men's one. I love Jillian coming back. Even Jillian, I'll be down for her and Billie Kay, like maybe having a few tag matches.
As soon as her entrance hit, I was like, she is just like Billie Kay. This will be perfect. So I love the fact that they teamed up.
Yeah, and I thought it was brilliant. I thought this one had a lot more story in it as well, like a lot more stuff for people to do. And then the first stage of it was there's lots of comical moments, and then obviously Victoria coming out very nostalgic. But then by the time you obviously had Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair coming out back to back, it was like, okay, it's getting real now. And Rhea Ripley, probably one of the best Royal Rumble performances of anyone like ever. You know, it was quite incredible. The finishing sequence as well was really good, like really good. And again, it's one of those where, you know, even if we're judging it on just past Rumbles, and there's been like 35 of them, let's say, I think 35, 37 Rumbles before this. Like that, I mean, that finishing sequence is up there with some of the best ones. It was edge of your seat kind of action. You know, who's going out? You know, who's gonna hit their finish? You know, like you didn't know what was going on, but I loved it. And I think overall the right person won. I think Ripley could have won, and I would have been down for that. But I think that she's the more made star. Like, she's the person who, even though she hasn't been on the main roster, I think we can all buy, like, if they said, oh, okay, Rhea Ripley's number one contender for the championship, and it's a big deal, I'm like, yeah, it is a big deal, because she's literally been the best person on it. I think the best person really on NXT for the past year. So now I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I could buy that. But Bianca Belair, there's still that uncertainty, like, what is she, you know, she hasn't really done much. But I think it was a good it felt big. But then it's one of those where if there were fans, I think that would have definitely felt even bigger. You know, her being obviously that, you know, set him along, and she set the longevity record as well. So she was the Iron Woman in the match, and she won from Flair's number. You know, so there's all that kind of, you know, because she spoke about obviously that being a favourite Rumble as well, like on social media before this. So it's a case of it all kind of tied in really nicely. So yeah, no, I was down for it. I think it was a really good Rumble.
I found it quite strange that she did come out at number 3, but I guess it's because we had Edge's situation later, which we'll go into. But quite easily could have been number 1 and gone all the way to the end. So it feels a bit of a wasted opportunity for that. But yeah, I mean, I might not have had Bayley win, but for my pick. But who I actually wanted to win, like predictions aside, was Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley. So in that regard, very, very pleased with it. Like you said, mate, like the end sequence was so good. And like you going through some of the points there made me realize again just how much I enjoyed this Rumble, because it did have everything, you know, all the comedy spots at the start with Billie Kay, just continuing just her amazing stuff she's been doing lately anyway. But like the, you know, trying to form an alliance with certain people, and then it worked with Jillian, Shotzi firing a cannon at her, you know, but I do feel a bit weird. And as far as like a wrestling kind of rule sense, like surely there's got to be a rule at some point for in maybe, if you want to make it look legit at least, of like, oh, why could you come out at any point, it doesn't matter. You know, like there's got to be some sort of punishment. Like you come out, if you don't get in the ring by the time the next person comes in, then you lose your spot. Or maybe if you do the whole, which we're seeing so much in recent years, the whole getting out through underneath the ropes, then you've got X amount of time to get back in or something like that. But
like
again,
in the men's one, isn't it? At the
yeah, exactly. And but again, it takes away that creative freedom. So I understand why they don't do it. But it is a loophole in the kind of legitimacy of it. But yeah, going back,
overdone it as well. I think the past few years,
way too much in recent years. So,
especially the women, sadly.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to like some of the surprises again, like Tori Wilson, they're the kind of ones that I thought should happen because they've been in and around the company. So yeah, that was fine.
It's still good. It's still good. Like, she looks good. In the day, she'll always be asked. She will always be asked back to do it every single year. January the 1st, maybe no, January the 2nd. Sorry, once production staff are back in the office, she'll be asked to that Rumble because she looks the way she looks, and like she's still got that pop. Her, Kelly, just off that ilk where they're just always gonna be asked, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Tori Wilson was alright in this one though. To be fair,
I really did like the bit where Bayley slid. Speaking of getting out of the ring, Bayley slid underneath and then did a powerbomb to the outside I think it was to.
It was Ruby Riott.
Ruby Riott, but it was Peyton holding her, right? And then she slid underneath the that. That was a really cool spot and quite clever from Bayley. Something I did notice as well was Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Also Bianca obviously wearing like a superhero kind of themed outfit, which linked in the whole Royal Rumble thing. So that kind of got me thinking, okay. Maybe Rhea Ripley, she kind of looked a bit like Harley Quinn with the red and black. So I'm not 100% sure if that was intentional, but interesting. I like little attire notes there. So yeah.
You said Bayley slid out and powerbombed Ruby Riott, and then Peyton was holding Ruby. And a little bit later on, Bayley was teetering around the ropes, and Peyton Royce come over and eliminated someone for Bayley. So I don't know if there's something happening, but it seemed like there's a link there at least, even if it was just a Rumble. But they're like two people that wouldn't connect, and they kind of connected for their moment. I got my heart broken in this Rumble. I'm not impressed either. Right, there was a moment with Peyton Royce and Billie Kay.
Oh, yeah.
They were together. They'd done the iconic bit. Billie Kay didn't do it. Oh my! I felt like crying. Felt like crying. Like the greatest women's tag team ever. Literally, this is standing in front of me.
It would have been good if there was fans there and it had been like a year where they had been apart and they did it. It would have felt so good. Yeah, almost like do the whole. I feel like it would really suit having the Rainmaker camera angle where they can zoom out really fast. Yeah, that was cool. But I did like the way they did it where Billie was kind of conflicted because she was looking at Ruby Riott and being like, I kind of want to join your gang still. Yeah. So I like that, man. I did like that. I completely forgot to mention, but the Naomi and Bianca sideways flippy thing in a power was quite impressive. Cool. But I genuinely thought it was a botch at first. I was like, what the heck's that? And then it's twisted. I was like, oh, okay, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And your pick of number 29 as well, you got Nia Jax. Obviously, we knew number 30 was going to be Natalya. So I think it got towards the end bit and it's like, right, who's not come out yet? Oh, it's Nia Jax. So I suppose that was kind of not spoiled as such, but
it kind of seemed probable, like most likely.
I mean,
I did start to think,
at 28?
Yeah, I did think, you know what, she could do it, because she is like a big push character, so maybe. But so yeah, I mean, obviously by that point Bayley had gone, so all my hopes were pinned to Nia Jax.
Got to be Nia Jax, surely.
Yeah, Nia. Okay. Well, I guess I want Nia to win the Rumble.
Yeah, here we go. Irresistible Force. Decent pick actually for a bonus.
But yeah, I don't know how to feel about the whole thing with her and Shayna, because they literally just won the titles, and within the Rumble they teamed up, went against each other, and then teamed up again. And the bit where they went against each other was horrible. Like, they're so sloppy. It looked so bad. They looked like they were waiting for something to happen as well. They were like looking around. It was really, really. I mean, definitely the kind of mark on the Rumble as far as negative points was that for me.
I'd agree. When that happened, it was one of those where I was like, why do they do this when they built this Rumble up really good? It was, really good at this point. And I was like really invested in it. I'm like, I'm happy to watch this. It's really good. and then they decide to remind me that they only book villains to be stupid. Because why would you do that? Like, if you are tag team champions of the world, because you're in the WWE, you're not in some indie fed. You are the tag team champions of women in the entire world.
Yeah, the best
no
women's
other
tag
two
team
women
in the world,
are as good as
Good
you
point.
two. So why wouldn't you just team up, get rid of every single other person that's in the ring, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, all the people like that you know are gonna cause you trouble individually. Get rid of all of them, and then go at the end of it. Right, me and you, let's fight it out. Like a normal, rational human being would do so. But in WWE, it's a case of, oh no, we team up to eliminate one person, maybe two. But, oh, actually, no, that's too much.
Yeah.
Like now we've got to start hating each other. Because they even did it. I mean, it's going back to our Survivor Series, I think, when it was New Day versus Hurt Business around that time, and they flirted breaking up the Hurt Business. It's just like, what are you doing? You're about to give them the tag belts. It's like, no, WWE logic is just like, no, people have to be stupid. And it just really wound me up, because there's no need for it, because they just have them win the tag belts, and they already done that story of them like not getting on kind of thing. So why then revisit it again in the Rumble? Like, it didn't make sense. And obviously all it led to was obviously them get eliminated. And don't get me wrong, I think the Lana eliminated Nia is really cool, actually. And again, it's one of those moments the crowd would need to be there for, like, big time. I think that would have got a big reaction, from people. And there was that moment, like I said, I thought Lana could win. I thought Lana could do it, But then I kind of got brought back to reality when you realise that it's Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, and Charlotte Flair all in the ring with her. You're like, nah, that's not going to happen, is it?
The final three was probably the best three you could have picked for the current time. I mean, if you just said Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Charlotte are going to have a triple threat match, just imagine for like the SmackDown Women's Championship. That would main event any pay-per-view. And it would be so good that they could raise the bar against the men. I mean, we've seen it in NXT when women raise the bar, and these three together could do it, again. And I just thought, what a
I really like
way.
that kind of tempting, booking. It seemed like Charlotte could do it, and then it's like, oh no, not at the expense of the two new people that everyone's excited. At least one of them have got to win it, and then they both teamed up and got rid of Charlotte. So I thought that was quite good, like playing on fans' emotions. So.
Why was Charlotte like smiling as well, like really creepily?
Charlotte's just been really weird lately, man.
She's not really turned on by it.
She's been really straight. It's like, because it's another one of those where you can't tell what storyline she's going into. Like a lot of times in the Rumble, you're like, oh, this is the seeds for another story. But she's got obviously the Lacey thing going on as well. Which in this, when Flair came out, I was like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Like, it annoys me that there's a men's and women's Rumble, and then you like, I genuinely
enter it at first.
Yeah, I genuinely thought it was going to be in the Rumble, and it really annoyed me. And then when he brought out Lacey, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's what's going on. But it's like when I was in a few years ago. It's like I got it with China and Beth Phoenix, but there is a women's Rumble now, so let's just do that.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he weren't wearing his new trainers, mate, as well.
I know, man.
my tired self, when an NXT woman called Santana, someone Santana, she came out. I
did think it was Tito Santana.
Tito Santana had to come back, until she walked out. I'd never heard of her, and I don't really watch NXT, so obviously sorry if she is someone who is somewhat of importance. But when I saw the name come up on the screen, and they kept doing this for all the entrants, obviously that's the camera angle they're doing. They film because a lot of the new music is rubbish as well, by the way, for some of the wrestlers. Nikki Cross in particular.
Yeah.
It literally sounds like nothing. It sounds like a song that she wouldn't even listen to. Like, if it was being played to her, she would remove her ears rather than have it heard by her ears. Like, it made no sense. Awful. But yeah, like, when that name came up, I was like, Tita Santana? Like, is...
I thought it was going to be Santina. I thought it was Santina.
That's who I thought it was at first. And
then I thought it was what's his name? Santana from AEW.
Oh, from Ortiz.
Yeah, from the Inner Circle. So I was literally same thing. Half asleep. I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, I think she's got to change that name. Like it's good because annoying. It's one of those names where everything that it's associated with is bigger than her. Like, it even got Santana, got Carl Santana, the artist.
I was gonna say.
Who had like massive hits like 20 years ago. Tita Santana, like, who was one of the best like kind of undercard baby faces about 30 years ago. And then Santana in AEW. obviously, part of a good tag team. And then
I mean, if you couldn't have John Uso, then because of John Cena, it's got to go back to that policy, I think.
The thing is, though, she's using her real name, so it's one of those. So that is her.
Then it's her parents that need talking to, then, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't name yourself after famous stuff.
Just in case you get famous as well.
But yeah, also something that I don't think we've touched on yet as well was the Alexa Bliss thing as well. So obviously came out at number 27, which is obviously lucky Royal Rumble number. In the middle of the ring, went to do her, like, where she changes into somebody else. Bang, Rhea Ripley just dashes her over the top rope. It's like, well, there we go. That was...
I really like that because I was thinking, are they really going to go to a pre-tape thing here? Because there's a lot of people in the ring to kind of show where they are and their hair out of place and whatever else. But then that doesn't matter because look what they did with the Fiend's dummy. Looks stupid. So, yeah, I did think, maybe they are going to go to saying there was pre-shot here. But no, I like the fact that Rhea just went, nope, for her out.
Bye.
Could that go somewhere now?
Who knows? I mean, she lasted the second shortest amount of time in the entire match at 1 minute 2 seconds, only shortened by Carmella at 47 seconds. But yeah, I mean, so I have my pick obviously at number 13, which was Liv Morgan. Here we go. Who am I going to get?
Oh, Liv Morgan, right? Yeah, she's going to win.
Liv Morgan, I'll take that. Oi, oi. Yeah, a bit disappointed she didn't do much. But yeah, I mean, if we're looking overall at the match, like point-wise, there was only really, so obviously Scott, you and Rob both correctly said Rhea Ripley to get the most eliminations, which she did with 7. I said Bianca was going to get the most eliminations and Rhea was going to win, so obviously I got them the wrong way round. Rob, you correctly were the only one, surprisingly, that chose Bianca Belair to actually win the match. And so
double points to that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you came out of this one with 3 points. Scott, obviously, the only other one that scored points in this Rumble. Which so
I think that puts me top of the table, right?
All right, come on now. We'll see at the end. Right?
We'll see when we get to the end. We'll see who.
Got 2 matches left.
At the end, though, I quickly should probably mention that promo from Bianca. A really nice, heartfelt kind of thing. It felt like she maybe messed up her line because she said the EST in WrestleMania, which kind of makes sense, but it made more sense when on commentary they said the EST in the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. I'm not sure if that was what she was supposed to say or if that was just 2 different lines that kind of sound similar. But yeah, the promo itself and just the decision to make Bianca win, I just thought top notch.
I thought the final 2 were actually the perfect final 2 because it shows that it's like, okay, these are 2 women that we want to build our division around for the future. And it just shows, like, in that match, the amount of, like, female talent that they've now got at their disposal. And the fact that they didn't need to, like, litter the match entirely with, like, legends or, women from yesteryear. It was just, okay, these are the girls that we've got there now. They are going to go out there. They're going to put on a heck of a performance. Rhea Ripley could easily hold the Raw brand up. Bianca Belair could easily hold the SmackDown brand up.
It's a new generation, mate. Yeah, they've built well.
Actually, the amount of storylines that they've got going forward there, I can easily see them possibly bringing in a mid-card women's championship just for the amount of women they've got. But they can't really.
But then they don't really book both world titles strong enough to do that, do they? So
exactly,
that's the risk there.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got your Raw Women's Champion relegated to the pre-show in a tag team title match. There's like no real. There wasn't really a listed like. Raw
Which in turn, actually, I feel damages the Rumble because there wasn't. Remember a few years ago when Asuka ironically won it, and you're like, who is she gonna pick? It was really exciting, that whole kind of. I think it was Bliss and maybe Charlotte were the options at the time, and it was really exciting. They had that bit where they all stood in the ring together. But yeah, not having strong title kind of pictures to kind of jump into has kind of diminished the excitement, I think, going forward for Bianca's kind of win, because I just like. I don't know who she'll face. I'm just more excited about her winning it and facing someone rather than who's she going to face, Yeah,
I still think, though, that the champions that we've got now are not going to be the champions heading into WrestleMania. Possibly Sasha, I don't think Asuka's going to be the Raw Women's Champion.
No, Charlotte's got something to do, isn't she? So, you know.
Yeah.
But and obviously there's teasers there anyway.
I still think they'll probably go down the Charlotte Rhea Ripley route for that. So possibly.
Possible, yeah,
they might go for.
Maybe with Asuka. I mean, a triple threat would be good, and then you still get to use the Rhea kind of footage that we talked about in the predictions as well. So
also, did any of you see? So I know I posted in the in like our group chat thing, but there was an Instagram picture from Becky Lynch teasing.
Naughty.
The only thing that irritated me about that was obviously I don't want to give a spoiler for the later on, but the only reason Becky would be there is if Rollins is there.
Yeah, it was obvious what's happening.
Yeah, and I was like, well, Becky's not coming out, so and they were going to bring her out. She would be number 30. That would be the and
you know what it told me as well? That at the moment Becky is the biggest star out of the two of them, because I know I don't want to pit couples against each other, but everybody's it just means Rollins, doesn't it? It kind of diminished Rollins' return, I feel, because everyone's like, it's not Becky. Yeah, all right, Rollins coming back later then, isn't he? You know, from the way everyone was talking on Twitter, just looking through the kind of trending topics from their names, it seemed like more people were like, okay, it would have been better if it was Becky, but all right, I'll deal with Seth, you know, which I think is quite interesting for the woman in the relationship in this day and age in WWE. So it's a great, another highlight of how far I think it shows women's wrestling has come, because I don't think you would have ever got that with Tori and X-Pac.
Sorry, she's the man in the relationship.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So, yeah. But great. Great to see the love she's getting lately as well. So be good to see when she does eventually come back. Before we quickly move on though, I do want to mention some of the awkward landings in this match, and there was a lot of ringside bumps in this entire show, but there were some really, really rough ones. I think with Dana Brooke and Peyton, where they both had quite rough looking eliminations. So hopefully everything's okay there. Really, really scary for Dana considering the week she's had. But
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we've not seen any. I've not seen anything come up that anyone's been like injured or anything like that. But
and Dakota as well. She landed really badly on her leg on the side of the ring.
Yeah, so hopefully everybody is fine. So yeah, a couple of backstage segments leading into the Last Man Standing match. There was obviously Miz and Morrison. I think they approached Bad Bunny. Was it Bad Bunny?
Yes, Bad Bunny, yeah.
Approached Bad Bunny backstage, and also we had Rosenberg.
Yeah, Peter Rosenberg won the 24/7 title. Winning, that was interesting.
Much to JBL's delight.
Yeah. I like the bit with Miz Morrison backstage, though. Obviously, it plays a part later on, but yeah, it was good to see Booker T looking all mean, and yeah.
Did anyone else think that was going to lead to Booker T going into the Rumble, or was it just me?
Yeah, I thought that too.
I didn't really think about
Rumble. G.I. Bro.
Yeah, I didn't think about the Rumble at all, weirdly enough. But I did think it was more to do with Booker than it was Bad Bunny, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll get to Miz later.
So we'll move in now to the Universal Championship match. We were actually quite split on the result of this one. Obviously, Lucas, you gained one of your only points in this whole thing by correctly predicting a Roman Reigns win. Scott, you also predicted a Roman Reigns win. Me and Rob both predicted a Kevin Owens win, which in theory, me and Rob should get the points because Roman Reigns was down for a 10 count. Just the referee didn't actually count it because the referee doesn't know how to bloody count.
We're down for about 2 minutes.
That was so awkward.
With someone shouting in the referee's ear, please do not count the champion out.
And all the other times, isn't it? With a free count said, just do it, you got to do it, and then deal with it later, sort of thing. But with this, it was like, oh mate, it was so awkward because you can't accidentally take the title off Roman Reigns at the moment. That just cannot be an option. So, awkward.
But the thing is, it was like I was saying in the actual prediction show. If there is any match that you can do it, it would have been a last man standing because he doesn't actually have to get pinned. It could have just been one of those where, okay, he's in handcuffs. He physically cannot get to his feet.
I thought it was going to be, yeah.
To be fair, that would have been like accidental or not. You would have just said, just count it, go, just do it. You know, it would have made, and especially Heyman trying to get him out of it as well. That would have made brilliant.
They could have played up to it, but because it weren't the plan, I think they just all panicked. So I think it would have made the spot previous not seem as impressive, because for me that was really cool seeing him pull the ref straight into the lighting rig. I thought that was really Yeah, it's a shame because other than that, it was an all right match. As far as the spots go, like I know we had a bit of a chat on the group chat last night about last man standing matches not being the most exciting at times because it is a lot of waiting around and stuff. But yeah, but it's always like the spots are good and the endings are usually good. And I think this match was exactly that. Kevin Owens is the new Shane McMahon. Obviously, you see something high jumping off it or falling off it. So yeah, that was cool. Seeing all that kind of jumping, getting thrown again like he did on SmackDown off the Thunderdome kind of screens. And obviously the bit backstage, which reminded me of SmackDown versus Raw's full cliff action, which weirdly used to float really weird because the physics are crazy on that. You'd get on it and go, whoa, so I couldn't help but think of that. But really cool how you just set it up. And then, yeah, I thought it was going to be a splash, so a swanton bomb, which was executed beautifully. It was really great, graceful as he floated through the air. So yeah, really enjoyed that. And when the golf car thing happened, I shouted out loud, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, that was
smashed through it. Yeah, and I see obviously a lot of people comparing to Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara, but you got to remember the original WrestleMania 17, Raven, Kane, and
Big Show.
So let's give props where props are actually due. But all those kind of moments were great. But yeah, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I think as well, the you say about the whole thing with the forklift, I actually thought that was how they were going to play into somewhat of the finish of the match, where he would have actually lowered it down on top of him so he couldn't get up.
Like that weird camera angle one they did on The Rock years ago with Mankind.
And the Iconic match, yeah.
So stupid. That was like the precursor to the rubbish they tried in the Greatest Wrestling match ever, or whatever it was called. Those weird camera shots.
But no, I think overall, I thought it was a really good match. Actually, I did really enjoy it. I liked all of the big spots. Some of them it was quite believable that that could put them down for a 10 count. But then there was other times when they got up and you're thinking, okay, you've just done these big massive moves. How are you getting straight back to your feet, kind of thing.
Interesting seeing the backstage area though, weren't it? I was thinking, oh my gosh, what if they stumbled across a spoiler and we see someone backstage by accident that shouldn't be there, But
I think that's what happened when they went into, I guess, when they went into Gorilla, because if you notice, as they went through the curtain, the camera then cut to a replay. So it's like, okay, you're not going to see the backstage bit with where Vince is and Triple H and probably the big board with who's winning each match and stuff on it. So they so they cut straight to the replay of the Swanton then, where he's going through.
You say they didn't have anything. If you look very closely, on the table in the empty room bit was Mrs. Money in the Bank briefcase.
It was literally coats and that,
in view. Yeah. It was in view, along with his jacket, for a large portion of that backstage segment. Look, I thought this was okay. It's biased here because, again, American watchers, this will know that we unfortunately have to watch these at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So sometimes we can get to that point of large percentage matches for me personally I don't like, because they entail longness. They have to be 20, 25, 30 minutes long to kind of be believable. And there is that part of me where it's a bit like, well, if you know that the end goal is that you've got to do something really, really bad to your opponent, just start with that. I mean, and it's one of those where it can just get silly when you think about it in your head, can someone get a gun out and shoot someone?
Where does the line draw? Yeah.
Where does the line draw between how far you can go with these things?
With a golf caddy, that's where it draws.
I think as well, and this will come more into the next match, but it's where obviously having 2 Rumbles, it's a very long show.
Yeah, it's not the show to do it on, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very long show. But look, positives, let's think positively as January is over. It's now February, so we should be starting thinking positively. I think, look, some of the spot they did were cool. Kevin Owens is quite believable as this, he actually might do it kind of guy, which is very rare. And so they've got to be careful kind of not to mess that up too much, because I think it's good to have those people who could win, because, but even though this wasn't the time to do it. The finish, though, in my opinion, unforgivable, because there's no fans. You can pre-record this stuff.
Bolt cutters.
It's one of those spots which I think on paper it should work, but when you add the logistics,
you can see why it goes wrong though. Yeah, like, it's happened in
when you
a
add the
lot of these matches before.
together, of like, okay, it's relying upon Paul Heyman coming with a key and being able to open it. And let's be real here, everyone at some point in their entire life has got their door key out, went to put it in the door hole, and it's missed. Like, it just happened because it just happened. And imagine that with cameras, lights, the pressure of a Vince McMahon screaming at you.
They're not exactly big keys.
It was dark and it was a weird angle. And, let's be real. Paul Heyman is pushing. He's got his mid-50s. He's not exactly going to be the most kind of quickest guy kind of on the ball with this kind of stuff. It made it very awkward. It's one of those where if they pre-recorded it just to finish, like they could have sliced it together. Like they pre-recorded the stuff in the Inferno match last month because they knew that with respect it would look daft. Like clearly having to cut. Well, even though they did mess up some of the stuff in that, but it looked daft. Clearly having to cut the camera shots about 55 times. When Orton was on the chair and having to rely upon Orton sat there, maybe burning his dick off, like risking burning your dick off for a paycheck.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the finish wasn't the finish was the right one. The right person won. The Swanton was good. The forklift. Yeah, I did feel that because didn't they do that with? Was it Alberto Del Rio did it a Big Show when he dumped the table on him and
someone? I've seen him do it before.
Face run, awful when they remixed his theme song and they made him like the American hero, like Eddie Guerrero. They basically went, "You're going to become Eddie Guerrero, but without the hard work and talent that people actually respected him for, which should become him because you're Mexican." But yeah, there was that match where I think he dumped the table on him and stuff, and so it's been done a few times now. But yeah, it was good. Just maybe the wrong show to do it on, in my opinion.
You know how I think they should have fixed the awkward count thing? Is there should this is where it's like who's in the wrong, because this could have been someone's initiative. Heyman, someone on the earpiece from the back, or the referee should have decided this. Where the referee, because he was stood way away counting, right? He should have just walked up to them when it gets to like 4 or 5. Are you struggling? Hit me. Reigns pulls him down. Heyman turns around, whacks the ref, and then the people in Gorilla are going to know. They're going to go, right, I understand what's going on there. We're going to send out a third referee. Not quite yet. When the handcake's done, the third referee is going to come out. That's all they had to do. It wouldn't have been hard.
Maybe. I mean, is it a stretch to say that surely there would be like fake handcuffs or mechanism that must be used? I mean, with respect, handcuffs have been around for decades.
And they use the one on his wrist. Not that.
Yeah, on like kids ones, when you're a kid and you have the little like cops and rubbers type deal.
Got a release mechanism in the back.
Yeah, like surely there's something they could have done. Like that could have, I refuse to believe in 2021 with handcuffs having been used for many things, not just for being arrested. That there's not been handcuffs made that you can get out of, because I think there'd be a lot of people in place they shouldn't be if handcuffs can't be released. Put it that way.
Maybe the old Fed didn't want that on their search history, and they just didn't know where to look.
Perhaps. So I've literally turned it into 50 Shades now.
It's all right, mate. We've done food, we've done music, and now we're doing. Everyone knows what we're talking about.
Best come to Robert thing.
No. I mean, I can't follow what you just said, Lucas. I'm not even going to attempt it. But you're right. It had great moments. Then it had that. I think the only thing that ruined it for me was the ending. But why wasn't Jey Uso around? Did I miss something? Or he's got a twin. Use the other one. There's 2 of them.
Different hair.
Wear a hat.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Just something. They could have, as you said, like Scott rightly said, if they were struggling, why didn't Roman just low blow the ref? Like, just pull him in close, low blow him. Like, to do something to break the count, or have Owens go over and then attack Heyman.
Especially when you're so desperate. You just did that to the ref. You so desperate that it's the only way to stop this count. And then it turns out the other way to do it is for the ref to just go, what am I doing again?
Just something, or even Heyman attack the ref. Just out of desperation just to prevent it. And then that way, if the count breaks, and then they can do what they need to do, get him out, and as you rightly said, just bring back the ref. You know, it would have taken 2 to 3 minutes to get that, and then get them escape. You know, but instead they went down this really awkward route, and I think it really put like a stain on quite a decent match. As we said, we're not ones for last man standings are really long, and I think these two together, they've done something really well. You know, compared to the Randy Orton and Edge match last year, when we said it was far too long, 45 minutes or whatever it was. This was a lot shorter. It had all the potential to be So, you know, it was so good, and the ending just ruined it. You know, I mean, and I didn't mind Roman winning. It makes sense for him to win. But in that situation, if they couldn't do anything, they should have just either done the count for Owens to win, and then Roman said technically he didn't lose it. He wasn't defeated because he was on the floor. He couldn't get up for that reason. You know, and play the heel that way.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they definitely could have
routes.
worked around it. These things happen live. I have sympathy for things going wrong live, you know, but there's no reason why the ref, Heyman, Reigns, or someone backstage couldn't have just gone, ref, go over to Heyman and get yourself knocked in the head. That's all they had to do. And I mean, I understand it going wrong, but it was definitely a chance to fix it.
They could have resulted in just throwing the Miz out there, running with the briefcase, making it look like he's going to attack.
And run
Owens.
over and explain
Just
it. I'm doing
something.
this because you can't get out of the thing. Yeah, like they could have been something.
Or if the ref check on his mate, like, "You all right, mate?
Yeah.
You just had a whack on the head."
Yeah, but even that would be weird. Like, but it's better than him just standing there going, "Wait a minute."
Hang on, what comes after? What comes after 6?
Yeah.
It's like 6. Oh,
Maybe
stop counting.
Gimmick, man. Maybe they'll gimmick this up like they did with Tim White. You know, who knows?
Or have that ref like anytime anyone's outside the ring, he gets the 6 and then forgets what the next number is. Or something.
It's got to be a gimmick now.
I tell you, I really did like though the spear into the LED board. For once, the LED board didn't flicker. You know that? I'm so glad they didn't do that. And then when it got to 9, and then Owens just rolled off the edge onto his feet. I thought,
I like stuff like that. Yeah,
it was just such like, you know, when you see the like the veteran knows where he is, he knows his surroundings, and you know, and it was like the last minute when you just get your pinky on the rope. It was literally one of those moments. I was like, beautiful. That was so good. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it.
Times,
yeah. The Swanton was lovely. I'm annoyed they called. I don't know why they called it a senton when everyone calls it a swanton. I think it's because Jeff calls it that. I mean, that's like little things that just irritated me. But you know, but overall, I enjoyed it. Other than the ending, it was worth it.
So then, obviously, we move on to the main event of the evening, which was the men's Royal Rumble match. So we started out at 1 and 2 with Edge and Randy Orton. Was I the only one that actually thought they were meant to be the opposite way round, or did I get that wrong?
They were supposed to be the other way around, but they clearly decided we need Edge to be number 1 and win it. Which I kind of think, because we speaking again, talking about in our group chat that they obviously changed who was going to be announced in what, like the men's was going to be the one, the 30 announced, and the women's was going to be the 1 and 2. So already they obviously had changed their mind on something. So I've got a feeling that Bianca was going to go 1 to the end and win it, and that's why she still came out low, a low number at number 3. And they decide, and they could give that away that Bianca's in there straight away, but then they decided to switch it because they changed their mind and wanted Edge to be the one to do that. I think that's probably what happened, and that's why they've switched it there. Well, something made them switch it. Maybe 2 things have switched, but it was just really weird that they literally announced he was number 2. So that was a bit suspicious when it happened.
Yeah, I thought that, because I thought, hang on, Orton's meant to be number 1. Why is Edge's music playing?
Well, that's because you notice on commentary they were like, "Oh, Edge just wants to get excited." I think they were trying to cover themselves there. They were like, Edge just wants to, and I was like, yeah, all right, wants to come out, all right, cool. But then I was like, hold on a minute, he's at the wrong number.
You couldn't have waited like another minute, like
yeah, exactly.
Someone backstage just pressed the wrong button.
Yeah.
Oh, so, crap, we're playing Metalingus, not voices.
Would it have been an issue though if he had done it at number 2? Like, I get the idea of your number 1.
Yeah, I think you might as well.
Too.
But they don't promote it like that. I think you've got to, like when they did it with Ray, was it with number 2?
Yeah.
I didn't like that. If you're going to do it as number 1. Or then, tell everyone 1. There is no 2. 1 is the same. 1 is, 1 and 2 are just 1.
Because I'm guessing like when Ray did it, Obviously, Voldemort had only done it a couple of years before him. So I guess there was that thing of like, oh, and at the time, obviously in 2006, before we knew what would happen, it was like, well, someone just done number 1 to number 30 and won it, so let's just have someone do it for number 2. And obviously, I guess in hindsight, they would have changed that perhaps. But yeah, it is nice having another member of that club. But then why couldn't it have been Bianca Belair to do that as a nice kind of like, okay, now she's the first woman to do. But again, maybe they're saving that because again, the woman, it's unique with all these women's matches. I think this one makes it interesting because they've got all the kind of records, like, you know, the Lucky 27 and all the kind of records that are held by the men. The women now have got to do their own versions of it, if that makes sense. So I guess, like, you know, Bianca Belair could have done it this year, and she almost done it basically. You know, he did the whole Shawn Michaels routine of, you know, basically being in the entire match, but there's that caveat where she wasn't in it from the start. You know, she wasn't in it for at least 2 minutes of it.
I think it was just to put a little sizzle on Edge's steak, basically, and make people remember Edge's one a bit more, because I've got some opinions on Edge later. But yeah, I just think it was to basically downplay some of the kind of, really, Edge? I think it was to go. But look what he did. You know, it's a kind of a distraction from the fact of who won, I think.
Yeah, this was a very disjointed match, I felt. It was, again, like we're recording this fresh off basically it existing. Once we've obviously all probably had coffees and a bit of sleep. And so there might be more to come of it. I get a feeling the match was changed a lot of times because there was a lot of different matches that were going on, it felt like. People were getting disposed of really quickly in this one. Like some people were, you know, blinking, you missed them. You know, like, you know, to think that where Otis has come from, you know, he came from basically being Mr. Money in the Bank, being very featured all throughout kind of SmackDown for the entirety of 2020, literally 20 seconds in the Rumble. You know, and it's just like, oh, okay. And it wasn't just him. It's rant time. It's rant time.
Gonna settle back.
Hang on, I've got a fresh cup.
Yeah, I ain't got a beard inside.
I'm just gonna press mute and just let you go for it, mate.
Okay, here we go. Miz and Morrison need to sue Vince McMahon. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing to watch them do any interaction with any person, any wrestler, any ring step, any ring rope, anything they touch. It is embarrassing. John Morrison signed a contract last year, and to go to Vince McMahon's house and say, sorry, get me out of this, I'm embarrassed to be part of what I'm doing. I watched some clips of Raw kind of on YouTube before I watched the Rumble, and it was some bits they were doing. Everything they're doing is an embarrassment. It's awful. It's cringy. They're making jokes from like the 70s. They're getting beaten up by Goldberg. They're losing tag matches. They're losing singles matches. Like, why are you friends? Like, why would you continue to be friends with this person who constantly costs you opportunities, almost lost you the Money in the Bank briefcase? You're not going to win when you cash in probably anyway. If you do, like, it's not going to mean anything. You get 2 seconds in the Rumble combined and get a celebrity basically doing a move on you and being the one to get the social media moment afterwards. It's all just garbage. And it's frustrating for me because The Miz, when he was the IC champion on SmackDown in 2016, the tail end, I was like, everyone was on that ilk of like, he should be the next world champion. But now, honestly, if he got released tomorrow, it would make no difference to my enjoyment of the company or the product. It's garbage. I don't know what I guess because he's got 2 kids, he's got the reality TV deal, and I guess he gets a bang Marie. Like, that's cool when he likes that. But good, maybe just do that. Just go into making movies with your wife or something. Like it's garbage, and yeah, I can't do it anymore. Rant over.
I have a bit of a mixed opinion on what you're saying, because I agree with you in some sense that they are massively underutilized. But what I've kind of goes against that for me is that everything they're doing, although I wish they weren't doing it, they are, just like when they did it with Strowman, they are performing it really well. Like, it kind of makes sense. Like the Goldberg thing, I kind of found it entertaining because they made it entertaining. Like but only because if it was 10 years ago, like early Miz and Morrison, I like the fact they're together. I used to love the dirt sheet. I love the comedy side of them. I like some of the stuff that they're doing. I like that they got the celeb involvement in the Bad Bunny. I like that Bad Bunny come out and did his little bunny hop. But it's not what I want from either guy. I kind of needed more from them before they become a team again, I felt like. And this time last year, I ranted hard about the same thing because Morrison had just come back and he was completely wasted in the Rumble. He was that original kind of like, oh, what's he going to do this year before Kofi? And having them together last year, I was so excited about it. And he got thrown out straight away by Brock, right? Okay, they were doing that Brock story. The rest of that Rumble ended up being great, so it could kind of let go. But then after that, Morrison didn't do much either. You know, he ended up settling with Miz, and I was like, oh, at least they're back together. I like these two together. So, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one for me, man, because like I said, I completely agree with you. Like, they shouldn't be in this position. But what they're doing, I am, you know, I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it entertaining at times. But that's only because of them. I don't think booking-wise this is correct, but I think they're making the best out of it. And like,
yeah, that's my main gripe, Scott. Just to clarify, that's my main gripe is that it's not against comedy characters or them being comedy characters. It's them being that way
now. And they should have been right now.
Like
with
Miz, the contract.
You're 100% right. Like, Miz should have been going into the title picture, and I don't think that's ever going to happen again. And it became so believable about 2 years ago, that Daniel Bryan kind of feud, maybe more now, but the IC run and all that, and then Morrison coming back as a star. He was a star. He was coming back as, oh my God, Morrison's back. And now, like, anyone could be doing that role.
Yeah, I just feel that, especially because you got Drew, who found out this Goldberg is a weird bump that we just got over. But Drew and Roman have been built up probably the 2 best champions in quite some time. And it just feels really misplaced. And, you know, like, I think if it was too unrelated, that's the thing. It's like, if like R-Truth, for instance, I love R-Truth, and I think he's great, and the role that he's got is good. Like the 24/7 stuff that he does, like he's able to literally still be part of the company and part of the business, just doing really short interaction and skits, and he's funny with almost everything he does, really. But that's fine because it's 24/7. It's pre-show. It's, you know, it's on WWE.com. Like, it's stuff which I'm not having to buy into. R-Truth as he could be the next WWE champion.
He's not holding the briefcase.
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's more difficult too because we spoke about this a lot around Money in the Bank time, and then when obviously all these changes happened. But the Money in the Bank gimmick's been kind of killed the last 2 years, and obviously not a lot of people actually being successful with it. So it's a bit like, you need someone now to actually be serious and then be successful to kind of bring it back to its standing. Or because isn't it now like the last few haven't even cashed it in or whatever, or haven't won the title on the last few occasions. So it's a bit like Buff and Brock, I think.
The Rumble's opposite, yeah. Rumble, like, they keep winning.
Yeah, they keep winning. So it's just that balance. But yeah, like overall, that was one of the gripes. But going back to what we spoke about with the women's one, like, half this match was outside the ring. It was insane. Like, people were going for the ropes. People weren't entering. People were, you know, you had the whole Edge and Orton thing. I mean, Orton literally sold that stuff for about an hour before he did obviously eventually come back. But I think, I don't know, I just felt like it was a few matches kind of all in one kind of happening, it felt like. You know, I think, so like the mid-card guys, obviously they stayed in quite some time, like people like Riddle and Big E and, you know, AJ, they stayed in quite some time. And then as it got later on in the match, and obviously Rollins came out, you're like, okay, Rollins is here. It did feel, to me, I hadn't seen that picture actually that Dan put up. I hadn't seen that picture at that time. So I don't know how other people received that. I received it as, okay, it's actually all right. And it did feel kind of big when he was in it for a little bit. But yeah, I think we should discuss the finish separately because there's a whole lot of problems with that. When Braun came out, up to that point, you're like, okay, like at least you had like a Rumble in there. Best return, of course, was Christian for me. Though Carlito, he looked huge. he looked huge. Like, I remember he used to do his little. I remember in one of the Money in the Bank matches when him and Morrison actually did the double springboards onto the ladder. You know, and I thought of that moment, that exact moment when he came out, and like, I don't think he could jump to the ropes. Like, he's literally he's too huge.
Too big,
like, he's just. Because he used to team with Chris Masters. I think now Carlito could be the Chris Masters.
Chris Masters,
But But yeah, that's my take on it. I like seeing them both though. It was nice seeing them. Glad that he didn't spit either, because that would have been very dangerous.
Yeah, not for it. Yeah.
So yeah, a moment that, as Lucas mentioned, there was a few like random people popping up, which is always great. Christian coming back. If you'd have seen my reaction, I was just gobsmacked, because I was rallying so much. Every time I spoke to someone, I was like, he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I know he didn't do much in WWE, and more of his career was TNA, but what he done when he come back, and the bits with Edge and then with Del Rio after winning the championship, he made himself an A player on SmackDown when he wasn't that great. Yeah. And he made himself an A player on a bad branded SmackDown. It was really bad at that point. It wasn't the best. So him coming back, and then the moment that really made me feel like, oh wow, was when Christian looks at Edge and then they hugged in the middle of the ring.
Oh man, what a moment!
I mean, if one of them had returned and everyone was still in the right, still continuously wrestling, that would be a great moment. The fact that both of them had to retire through to injuries, both of them were now medically cleared, and both of them were in the same Rumble at the same time. Do you think Edge knew? Because his face,
he looked proper, it was weird.
He was shocked.
Yeah. Another person to mention even as well in a similar kind of vein is Daniel Bryan as well. You had 3 people in the ring at the same time.
Yep.
Who, again, career-ending injuries and come back. It was great. But like you said, that hug was amazing. Like proper, it's like one of those things where you're like, this is why I'm a wrestling fan. Like this is the stuff that non-wrestling fans just don't get. Great. And to maybe a lesser extent, not as like emotional, but still great, was another hug of Team Hell No's reunion as well. That was really nice to see.
I'll always love seeing Team Hell No, though.
Exactly. Kane was the kind of person that I thought would come back, so I was happy with those kind of returns as well. Would have been nice to see Christian get fans, but at the same time, he's been in and around sort of, since he kind of retired, so not as bad for Christian, but still, it would have been a nice moment. But either way, I thoroughly enjoyed seeing him come back.
So I really enjoyed that. Also, we were saying in the group chat that now they're together, if after this run with Edge, with going for after the WrestleMania, would we see like Edge and Christian team again?
I'd love it, man.
I think it depends how cleared Christian is, sort of thing. It might have been, okay, you're cleared to do this, do like as little as you can in the Rumble, we'll just like throw you out, have this little moment. But it's like, could he go in there and like do a sort of 15? I mean, he could go in there, theoretically do a tag match and have Edge take most of that match.
Tag kind of one where you could hide anything.
Because he was injured through concussion, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were definitely avoiding headshots of him, because when Daniel Bryan did his running knees on a couple of people, he kind of ended up doing like a limp kind of drop kick to Christian. Yeah. Like he went full pelt at other people, and fair enough, you could argue, okay, they were villains, fair enough. And then the first 2, it's like, okay, so like more energy. But he literally turned, he saw Christian, and it was like, and he noticed Christian. He didn't take like a kick or anything off Sheamus. So it's like, it depends. But I guess, I think what it is now, though, they're realising that if they don't start doing something with some of these people, they will go to places like AEW, who are happy to have all the legends, all the time, every week, every match.
I think for me, though, a part of it dawned on me, and now we've got Edge and Christian back, we don't have the Hardys and we don't have the Dudleys. Not saying that we need a TLC match, but the last time they were all together, I think was the Dudleys. Was it the Dudleys Hall of Fame? So it was someone's Hall of Fame, and they all got on stage, all 6 of them. And that was a beautiful moment. But just seeing them two together in the ring again and just embrace. I mean, it would have been perfect for them to do. If they were fans, I think they would have done a 5-second flash photography pose.
Yeah, because Riddle got involved, didn't he, as well? Which I thought was quite funny, because he kind of fit in their kind of like early days of the Reeks of Awesomeness type Edge and Christian. So I kind of like that it was Riddle. And you know what? While we're on Riddle, him versus Daniel Bryan, that little segment they had there just shows why Riddle, I know Ro ain't the biggest fan, but Riddle is majorly underused and should be used as a fighter, because that's what he came in as. He's a fighter. He can wrestle. use him like that. Hey, he's got a bit of personality and character. You can use that, but they've relied on it far too much. And yeah, this that little bit with Daniel Bryan, the two of them together, just made me go, Riddle could be taken seriously.
Yeah.
He obviously wasn't taken too seriously on the predictions by Rob and Lucas because they both predicted him to be the first one eliminated. But then on the flip side, at least they actually picked people that were in the match.
Who did you pick?
I said Slapjack from Retribution, and Scott said Cedric Alexander from...
I think really telling for both factions
Hurt Business.
They literally had one member each in there as well. I thought, I instantly went, oh no, maybe I shouldn't have done Cedric because I think the Hurt Business are going to do a thing where they clear house all four of them. But no, that didn't happen either. So worrying times for Hurt Business. Yeah,
so obviously a thing for me and Rob picking Big E to win the Rumble, and obviously Omos at ringside eliminating him. It's like,
why is that going somewhere? Is Omos going to start?
Yeah, it's like they're both on different brands as well. So that doesn't make any sense. It's
and it weren't exactly like filled with AJ either. It weren't like a kind of like he's done that on behalf of AJ. It didn't.
It's him and I think Mysterio. It's him and Mysterio. He pulled out both SmackDown guys, ironically.
Yeah, and I guess he's helping AJ by doing that, but it felt like the kind of thing that usually leads to a feud. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna.
Yeah, and I mean, Lucas, obviously, you picked your number was number 10, and that was the number that Big E came in the Rumble. We obviously just need to do a quick shout out to obviously Big E, Xavier Woods, and as he was backstage as well, Kofi Kingston. All of them paying an amazing tribute to Brody Lee with their gear. We understand as well that apparently John Huber's wife didn't know anything about it. She said basically put a big thank you message on her social media, and the guys have said that the gear is all going to be auctioned off.
Oh, cool.
And the money's all going to go to a charity that was really close to John's heart, helping underprivileged people in his hometown. So
nice.
Kudos to the New Day for that. And that was nice as well to see that even though they're on different brands, that they can still work together. I mean, that was when you see stuff like that, that's what made me think, why could they not have still done that kind of thing with the Iconics? They're on different brands, but then, you can still one holds up SmackDown, one holds up Raw. You can come together at these bigger events, try and help each other. But yeah, so I'm just going to quickly touch on our numbers quickly. So obviously, Lucas, you had number 10, which was Big E.
Big E, what a pick! Hell, probably one of the favourites to win this. Number 10, good number.
Big E. Oh, that's a good pick. Even though I'm not convinced he's going to win it because he's the Intercontinental Champ. But
I think you could tell by my reaction, I wasn't best pleased to see. I wasn't best pleased to see Elias come out at number 13. Obviously, you'll see that in our reaction video.
Right, Dan's number this time 13. Unlucky for some. Dan, who you got?
Right, here we go. This is my pick for the men's rumble. This is number 13. Unlucky for some. Who's it going to be? Elias.
Oh, Elias. He ain't winning.
Who wants to walk with Elias?
Oh, Dan does, apparently.
Number 21 was Rob. That was Dominic Mysterio. As I said, I'm
never going to win though.
That's not bad. He ain't going to win, but it's a good moment for him and the Mysterio family. I will willingly take that.
Dominic Mysterio. Yeah, don't think he's going to do much. Maybe eliminate Corbin, that's about it.
Dominic Mysterio.
Even if he gets one elimination, that's great for him. Yeah, I'm down with that. That's decent. Although we did just get slammed by Corbin.
It's like I said, he come down, I'm like, he'll probably just eliminate Corbin. That's probably all he's going to do. And did exactly that. 29, obviously, Scott, Seth Rollins. I think, you had two decent shouts to actually win. I suppose the closer it gets to the end, it's like you've always got that more of a big name.
29, let's go. It's going to be Strowman or surprise. Oh, Seth.
Seth Rollins. So Rollins at 29, which means Braun Strowman at number 30.
I've been saying burn it down all night, but obviously I forgot he had this music. I thought he'd come back as the original. Oh, here we go. I don't think he's going to win it, but yeah, he's a good pick to have. I've got him and Daniel Bryan. That ain't a bad two to be going into the last few moments with.
Yeah, I mean, I felt really confident in that. Like, I could get some points. Like you say, my actual pick was Daniel Bryan, and my random pick ended up being Seth Rollins. I thought if there's two to have, it's good. But with Seth, it's like probably a better pick at another year, because I don't think him winning would have been a good decision. But yeah, it was a confident thing when he come out. If you're going to get anyone sort of thing, because yeah, it was obvious at that point that Braun was going to be number 30. So I was glad it was Seth over Braun, but in the end, didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done, to be fair, they could have done Braun at 29 and then had left the surprise as 30 for Seth. But then, you know, would that have kind of worked the same way? And, you know, just quickly looking back on the first, we touched on the first eliminations of who we said was going to do that. Most eliminations, like I randomly said Otis, got a grand total of 0. So well done, Otis. Thanks for that, mate. Yeah. Rob, you said Baron Corbin. Ironically, so it was strange because both me and Rob picked Big E to win it, but then both Scott and Lucas, you said Big E was going to get the most eliminations, which he did. He was tied with Damian Priest on 4. So obviously you still get the point there. Obviously, Lucas
that is weird. Does that strike anyone else as being weird? The two people with the most eliminations weren't even in the final 4, even in the final 6. I don't think.
I think it almost is like a consolation prize, you know, because I think, like I said on the predictions, I just didn't see it being Big E. I think that ship had sailed like 2 months ago. It looked like he was getting put into the position. But then we also mentioned, you know, he's IC champ now, so maybe not. It's not going to happen. And who knows where this weird thing's going to happen there? As like we said, if it's going to go into a feud, his elimination. But I still felt like he was going to have a big role in this match, but he just weren't going to win it. And I think that's exactly what they did. Like he had some key parts as well, like the bit where he was like absolutely furious with Mr. Ali. That was cool. And he really did not care for the Hurricane, which was quite shocking, seeing as Big E's
what's up with that?
Hey, hey, like it. But yeah, it was sprinkled all over this this thing as far as moments and things like that. But like, yeah, weird that he weren't towards the very end.
But then I guess here's what I'm thinking. I just think that he's still just so tied in with the New Day. Like even though he's got new music and he's like a champion on SmackDown, it just seems that obviously they had the Gears of War gear a couple of months ago. Now obviously they have the Rumble, and look, much respect for them for doing that gear, like, you know, for John Uber. That's really cool. But is it just a case of like every month they're going to keep finding a reason just for him to be part of the New Day? And I think if they keep doing that, it's going to distract from the fact that he is a single star now. Because he's a single star on SmackDown every single week, then he's on the pay-per-view, and now he's back with a New Day.
Yeah, when the progression actually matters, he is reminded.
It's just a bit odd. The last bit of that match got good. Like it took a while to get good with this one. I felt the women's one was it was equally good throughout. I think like there was lots of nice returns, lots of NXT superstars coming up, lots of just good action, good eliminations. We mentioned obviously before. Fair enough, some scary looking bumps, but apparently everyone's all right, so that's good. But the men's one, it just felt like they didn't know what they were doing in the nicest possible way. And I guess as well, it shows that the mid-card there is just so varied. Everyone's just disposable because essentially you had people like Shinsuke and Sheamus come out and do like 2 minutes apiece, basically, it felt. They came out, obviously didn't get a pop because there was no, obviously, live crowd, but, they come out, do a move, look to eliminate someone and then get eliminated. And it's just like, oh, okay. Now they're not part of the match anymore then. Okay, fair enough. And, they're people, they both won the match before as well, which is quite interesting. I just felt as well a bit fatigued, I think. Again, like, it's not obviously their fault with no fans. Obviously, I think it being the second Rumble of the night, by this point, it was just a bit like, oh, this is a bit... It felt it was getting a bit hard to watch. That's what I felt. But the end bit, like did save it, but I guess we have to get into it now. In my opinion,
you could tell there was no fans there because there was a "This is awesome" chant.
Which I was just sitting at home going, "This is piped in." But
well, there was a
This
holy
is
bleep chant
BS.
as well, wasn't there?
what? Sorry,
There was a holy S chant in the.
Was there?
Owens and Reigns match after Swanton.
Yeah.
Swanton. They started a holy bleep chant.
Probably just Vince and Kevin Dunn, like just playing around with a few buttons in the back.
But right, final bits then. Let's get into it. In my opinion, the wrong person won. The wrong person won.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Me too.
Yeah, the wrong person won, and it's not really just because I'm not a massive Edge guy. It's just because of all the years to kind of do it. It wasn't this, and they are just recycling the same thing they did with Batista, the same thing they did with Randy Orton a few years ago, the same thing they've done with everyone who is now a 2-time winner. It seems it just feels a bit like they just do it just because. The story of Edge and Orton, obviously, throughout the Rumble was decent, and when Orton did come back, that was quite cool. I got that, but I just feel the wrong person won. And they put themselves into a corner where Edge is only apparently, at the moment, he's only signed on for 2 more matches this year. So it's a case of, is he going to win the title and then just lose it on the first event? Like basically doing a Goldberg. Us as fans are meant to like that because Edge obviously will do maybe 10, 15-minute matches, you know, but then it's still the same thing, isn't it, surely? Like, but just differently.
Yeah, I was very disappointed last night. You know what? I guess we'll just put my reaction in here.
Randy Orton or Edge is going to win it. Rollins, don't go out. No, don't be. No, Randy Orton or Edge. This is not 2008. All right, Fiend come and stop Randy to make at least some sort of story. Simple that Edge threw him out. Really? I mean, I love Edge. This time last year I was in tears that he come back, but come on.
So yeah, as you can see, quite. Yeah. It's not like Lucas said. Like I'm a fan of Edge, and like I said in that video, but this just weren't the year for it. And last year, like you know, man, was someone cutting onions because I was welling up every time I see that Edge replay. You know, where he's welling up, and the fans like it was like I love Edge. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even mind him being in a big storyline in WrestleMania, but he's another one of these people where like at Mania. He can be in another match. Like, you've got 2 nights to fill. Yeah, main title, Edge match, Brock match, or something like that. You don't need them to be for the title. And
it's like Undertaker, wasn't it? Really, yeah, that was the attraction in itself. Like
exactly,
you had your main big matches, and then it's like, oh, and then there's the Undertaker. Who's going to face the Undertaker at WrestleMania? It could be who's going to face Edge at WrestleMania. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, obviously you had the streak with that, but on this it was like, last year it was like Edge's return, so it didn't need a title. And this year it would have been like his kind of redemption to the failed return. This time you got fans, and not a failed return, this time you got fans, and this time hopefully he's not injured, you know, for what happened last time. So it would have still felt like something on its own to look forward to. And yeah, it's not the year for Edge to do it. Now, I know some people could say, look, but you wanted Daniel Bryan, so that's still like, you know, someone that's been around the block and not exactly someone new. Because I said on the predictions, for me, I really like it being someone breaking into the main event. So obviously Daniel Bryan isn't that either. But for me, there's a story to tell with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Now, obviously, by the time this comes out, maybe things would have come out of who Edge is going after. But like for me, I'm not interested in Edge going after either of the current champions. That is not a story. Like, it feels like it could be a lighter version of what we hope Daniel Bryan and Roman would have been. I feel like Edge and Roman I can kind of see, but Edge and Drew I'm not interested. Like, it's just maybe at SummerSlam, you know, like maybe at Backlash, but it's not the Mania match I want. It's not the Rumble kind of position, you know, the Rumble winners position thing. I didn't want it to be the Edge storyline. The Edge storyline is the Edge storyline. Let it be the Edge storyline. And yeah, I was just really disappointed, man. Like at the end, like it was him or Orton. So yeah, if you put it like that, Edge, because Orton's had his kind of late.
I'd have honestly rather Orton won it.
Really?
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, out of the two. Honestly, would have rather Orton won it.
Then, yeah. I mean, then Rollins, I didn't want Rollins to win either. Like I was a bit, obviously my reaction, I'm a bit torn there because like, it would have got me a point. So, like, at that stage, if it's going to be someone that's already won it, it might as well be someone who gives me a point. But, neither of them, none of those should have won. If you're going to do someone from, like, that's already kind of been around the block. It should have been Daniel Bryan because he hasn't won it. And yeah, you could say like he's high up there, like Edge. It isn't a newbie and someone breaking in, like I said. But with Daniel Bryan, again, you had a story to tell, and he's not of the same generation as Edge. He's not already a Hall of Famer, which I did.
But he's still a full-time wrestler.
Because Mike Cole said, first ballot Hall of Fame, and that was really nice to see Daniel Bryan get this validation, after years of him kind of being, especially his early career, just not really used properly, and he is a Hall of Famer. Like, he will be a Hall of Famer, and I really like that. But for me, and the thing that would have topped that would have been a Rumble and a nice sort of run towards, what's his name? Roman Reigns. And who knows, maybe we'll get that in some way. But yeah, for me, Edge didn't need to win the Rumble. Whatever story they tell with Edge, didn't need the Rumble.
Do you not think that now they're going to have Randy Orton win the title inside Elimination Chamber to set that up? Maybe
because Randy's in 2 feuds at the moment. Then do you know what I mean? Like he's in the Fiend thing. So maybe you do Fiend Edge, because I feel like Fiend is the kind of thing Edge might have been sitting at home going, I want to work with this, because he's like, I feel like he'd be into that kind of thing, like the horror kind of aspects and stuff like that. So maybe Fiend, Orton, Edge, triple threat. I don't know, but I don't like that either. I don't like when they do Royal Rumble winner into a triple threat. But it is what it is, and Edge is the Rumble winner. And I can't believe I'm like, this time last year, if you would have said to me before Edge came back, next year Edge is going to win the Rumble, I would have been like, wow, I can't wait, just because it meant he was back. But we've had him come back, and I want to see
the Rumble's down to timing.
Yeah, you had your Rumble moment. It was last year. We didn't need you to be, look at him, Iron Man, #1, wins the Rumble. Like, we didn't need that, man.
I mean, what I think they could have done this year was, obviously it was always going to be tricky with no fans there. I think an Edge win, if they were going to do an Edge win, which obviously they did, it would have been better, I think, with fans because of the reaction. But I think, if you're going to go with someone this year, it could have just been somebody that you weren't, like, obviously not someone that you were building up, essentially. So you could have easily gone with, like, as we've predicted pretty much, so a Brian or a Big E, like we were all saying, or it doesn't necessarily have to be the person's gonna win at Mania. It could have even been, randomly, it could have been like Damian Priest, for example. That's one it could have easily been him, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna take on Finn Balor at WrestleMania. That could have been
Finn Balor in the Rumble either. A lot of people miss him from this Rumble.
I mean, Damian Priest was the only NXT person in the men's Rumble.
I was happy to see him, but yeah.
I reckon he's been called up, moved over, whatever you want to call it, called up. And I think him and Ripley have been called up.
Overall, I was wearing my Edge T-shirt last night. That was literally just a T-shirt that I'd picked out. I was like, oh, be a nice, like, fun thing, Edge in the Rumble. We'll have a decent showing.
Yeah.
Oh, Rollins has gone. Don't forget Orton. Orton's still there. Orton's going to do this. Come on, it's 1 and 2 left. Come on, Edge. Yes! Come on. Yes.
I would never have put down Edge to win it, but I can see, you can always see with these, like, when they do the Royal Rumble by numbers thing, they're always like, oh, Shawn Michaels was one of 2 men to win the Royal Rumble from #1. How nice is it actually now that they can actually mention another person?
Yeah, like we said on the preview, like they can add it into the by the numbers video package. But I find it quite strange that they didn't play that on Raw or SmackDown. Like, I feel like it was to try and make you forget about it. I think that's why they didn't do it until the night. Because usually they play that promo package all week. You know what I mean? Like, so, but this year they were quite, surprisingly quite quiet on it.
Yeah, and it was nice as well not having Goldberg in the match, which we kind of
that was
thought,
a relief.
And Brock,
that was
Brock Lesnar as well. I mean, the way I'm looking at it, so if they knew that Edge was ready to come back, now a theory could have been, why not leave him until Mania if they know that Christian's going to be back as well? If they know that, okay, Christian can wrestle, maybe do kind of like a Hardy Boys thing, like when they returned at, was it WrestleMania 33, was it? When they were part of the ladder match there. You could even have like the tag teams coming out there, be like, okay, we haven't got a match, and then Edge and Christian come out. No, that would have been a great pop in front of fans at WrestleMania, have both of them come out.
Yeah, I like them being in a Rumble together though. I just think really.
Yeah, I think because they split so long ago. Like, because even when you think, like, when they did the whole by the time Krishna won the World Championship after Edge had retired, it was very much they'd already said that they were friends now. They weren't brothers anymore. When they first, I don't know if people remember this, when they first were brothers at first.
Yeah.
But they were kind of friends, but they've never been in the HD/family era like a tag team. Like, it's only been, they just, happen to be friends.
Yeah.
Happen to be hosting a TV show. Or, the Cutting Edge, talk show segment they do together.
And the Peep Show as well.
Peep Show, yeah. Cutting Edge Peep Show, I think they call it when it's both of them.
Combined one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the numbers thing's quite interesting. Now I'm going through in my head. I believe that now they've done it because of last night's winners. So obviously, number 1, number 3, both winning in the men's and women's. They create a situation where you're just as likely now to win from numbers 1, 2, or 3 as you are to win from 28, 29, 9, or 30. They've been the same win from those last 3 and the first 3 numbers.
In the other way, I think they need to start making the last few numbers win again, because it makes, like you say, it kind of not very special anymore.
Well, it's weird though, because before that, actually, the last few number winners have all won via new numbers. And there have been a few years where they've won by new numbers that have not won before have won.
Yeah.
So this year they went for 2 numbers that have won and have very, very, very famous moments. 92, arguably some of the best Rumble that's ever happened. And obviously Shawn Michaels. Everyone who's anyone has known about Shawn Michaels going from number 1 to the end. For in the entirety of eternity, has known about that. Yeah, so it's interesting they decided to do those things on the same show. But yeah, in terms of Edge, where they go with him now, I think that they're going to do the most amount of hot potato-y of stuff that they've ever done with this, because I believe it to be a last-minute decision. That's how I believe it. I think the whole meant to announce number 30, and they announced number 1 and 2, and it has to be Edge and Orton, and then the whole fact that they, had Orton taking out the match, like it was all just very odd. Like, it was all just very, very odd. Like, Orton, I get a feeling that Orton probably kicked off because he probably thought that he was going to be in the Rumble for a short amount of time. And then they went to him, no, you're going to be in the last 2 still of Edge. He went, yeah, like, just take me out. And I'm going to be out there for an hour.
Yeah.
Edge can do that. He comes once a year. I'm literally a top heel every week. I think the way I'd do it, I'd favour Edge and Roman over Edge and Drew.
Battle of the Spears, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd favour that match. But then what happens if Edge loses? If Edge wins, like I said, it's a position where he's either got to relinquish the belt.
I don't want to see that. Yeah.
Or is he going to be a Lesnar and... Again, he could sign on for more dates, I guess. I'm not too sure what the situation is.
Yeah, surely he will.
He could sign for a couple more matches.
Surely, yeah.
If he wins title,
But I think he's one of these though that would want to put the younger guys over. That's how Edge.
Well, this is what's frustrating because obviously a lot of people still wanting Edge and AJ, and I think a lot of people would be down for that. It wouldn't need to be for the championship. It would be a biggish match still because it would get the internet fans loving it. It's enough to be your kind of if you've got a card that has the Goldberg in the main event where it's a 5-minute match. But you go, look, Edge and AJ are on.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's your kind of balance there. Because WWE's about the balance.
Yeah. Apparently AJ wants Triple H, though. That's who he's like.
Not Triple H.
That's the one person that he wants to face. I'm surprised, obviously, he didn't lace his boots up and get in the Rumble as well.
But yeah, definitely got to do something Mania, surely. So AJ would make sense.
The thing is, as we say, though, we've got Elimination Chamber and Fastlane beforehand. So, there's going to be 6 people. I mean, that's us assuming that they're going to do the WWE title defended inside, or one of the main titles defended inside the Elimination Chamber. So we could see potentially like one of 6 different matches potentially. Yeah. The only thing is if they go and they do a thing where Edge comes out on Raw or on SmackDown and is like, right, okay, this is the champion I'm facing. That champion's not going to be losing that belt up until WrestleMania.
Not necessarily.
I don't know. I've got an issue. To be honest, my issue is I don't want to see Edge face either of them.
Yeah, that's the same.
I don't care. Like, to me, Edge had his moment last year. If Edge is willing to put over the younger talent, he should have gave his winning spot to someone else. Like, Edge doesn't need that. He had the return last year. no matter what happens, Edge is basically a draw. I would say Edge is more of a draw than Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
Everyone cares about Edge. I don't think everyone I spoke to doesn't care about Goldberg.
Especially for Edge being away so long as well, like where he was out injured and stuff.
Yeah.
It was the same.
Right.
I think everyone was like, yeah, give us Edge, give us Edge, give us Edge.
Exactly. There's that. I mean, technically, Edge said he's going to regain the title that he never lost. The title he never lost is no longer in existence.
Yeah.
It was a world championship. So he's not gaining anything. If anything, he's gaining a title. He's either going to gain a title that he's never won, which is Universal, or regain a WWE Championship. So that doesn't make sense. It's just, in the nicest words, a cluster of just, they had an idea of, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I don't think it makes sense. Randy Orton's now in a feud with technically 3 people. Alexa Bliss, Fiend, and now Edge.
Yeah.
So Randy's going to be busy throughout the next few months. I was more invested in the Fiend stuff than I was with Edge.
Yeah, it feels weird timing for all of this. It does feel very last minute. But.
Yeah, they should have just give it to someone else. Honestly, at this point, I would have said just give it to Otis and let him just lose them.
Oh, come on, now.
Because it doesn't make right now. It doesn't make a difference, does it? Because now we know full well Edge is going to pick someone. Whoever we pick, Edge is going to WrestleMania, and basically you can already put your money on Edge is going to WrestleMania. Edge is going to walk out of Mania as the champion. If he doesn't, then the whole thing of him winning the Royal Rumble is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't win, I'll be more annoyed because it feels like it was for nothing. You know.
So at this point, I'm just like I am just not bothered. Like honestly, you should. If it wasn't Otis, give it to Riddle. At least he would have made something from it.
That's a lot coming from you. But yeah, I mean, look how down. Like, how has it got to a point where we're all down about Edge in his return? Like, it is technically another return. How is it we're down about Edge going from number 1, one of the greatest of all time, going from number 1 and win the title?
It's just the timing.
It just doesn't feel right, does it? It's
just the timing. Timing is so key. And with the Rumbles, I watched every single Rumble match prior to the Royal Rumble, and you see how. When you watch them back to back, they are, it's a playlist essentially. You watch it and you can watch. I can watch a Rumble from 1990 and then watch a Rumble from 2020 within 2 hours. But then when you think about it, that was 30 years that passed. And the same. But you go year to year. So think about 2014 when Batista and Reigns were the final 2. They were cheering on Reigns. They were cheering on Reigns. They did not want Batista or face Batista at least to be the main event. Against Randy Orton Mania. They cheered. Flash forward a year later, Roman Reigns is getting booed out the building. Yeah. And The Rock's getting booed for being associated with it. For winning the damn thing. Yeah. And that's a year that passed. Yeah. And it's a similar situation here where last year, the pop for his return was phenomenal. It's a fantastic moment. And again, they probably heard that and were like, oh, actually, this could be quite good if he won the thing. But since then, a year's passed. And in that year, we've had, obviously, don't get me wrong, the main global situation dominated it on the most part, but we had a lot of stuff happen. We had, obviously, the rise of Drew McIntyre. We had Roman Reigns turning into the Roman Reigns he's become now, this top villain. But we've seen Randy Orton just improve and increase the fact that he is just, Randy Orton, essentially. My main gripe with this as well is that, I mean, this is more about Edge than the actual booking of it, but it's just when he's like an 11-time world, 11 or 12, 11-time world champion, Edge.
12,
sure.
11, I think.
I think it is 11, and it just always sat wrong with me. And I guess you could argue this with obviously some of Cena's and Orton's reigns, but Edge started this hot potatoing of the belt. Like he was the one he had the cash-ins, then he'd lose the match like the next month. Then he had another cash-in and would sneak. It'd be the whole, it's now a triple threat and it's Edge. It's
another timing thing, isn't it? When he won, it shouldn't have been Cena. It should have been Edge, and Edge lost it within 2 weeks back then. Another example of bad timing.
Yeah, he literally he always just kept being this kind of person, and he racked up to 11 rounds with the belt, and it's like Hogan has 6. Stone Cold had 6. Bret Hart had 5. And I can remember every single time they changed. They were big moments. Whereas Edge was he was champion for 2 weeks. And then he lost the belt. Then and I was, don't get me wrong, some of Orton's reign, particularly when it was Orton and Cena when they were feuding, and they decided, I think they just called it in the ring, didn't they? We're like, you're winning now. And it flip-flopped quite a lot. All that time when Cena came back 2 weeks, 3 years ago, just to win it off AJ, and just to lose it the next month or whatever. But it's never sat right with me.
McIntyre having 2 though.
Yeah.
It's like, why is Drew on 2 title reigns now? We should.
Because 2 rhymes with Drew, that's why.
2 McIntyre.
2, yeah.
But it's never sat right with me, that, personally. Now, obviously, he wins the belt. He's now 12 times, he's entering into that, Triple H.
I think if they were going to do anything like that and have number 1 and number 2 win it, and then it would have made more sense for Randy Orton to win it, right? Because he could go to WrestleMania and he could have the feud with whoever. He could still feud with Edge. And then all of a sudden, right towards the end, The Fiend comes out. It ends their feud. Edge wins, and then he goes back to The Fiend. It would have been something like that. It doesn't have to be. It could, you know what I mean? They could have done something so well that way. And I would have taken Randy winning it 3 times over Edge winning it twice. And I think they said it was 11 years to the day that Edge won his first Royal Rumble. So basically, they're letting him win the Royal Rumble because it was a milestone 11 years later. That's how it seems.
But then they could have done this thing with the Miz with the Money in the Bank thing, wasn't
it? Which would have been better as well. Like, that's an anniversary kind of history repeating itself that we kind of wanted to see, I think. So, yeah.
So I think, overall, I think, the Rumble was all right. I mean, the men's one.
I enjoyed the show.
For me, I did enjoy Edge winning. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he should have, but I enjoyed it. Like being like an Edge fan from the younger days as well. But yeah, so shall we now get into like the important part of these predictions? So the predictions table, obviously I revealed to you guys last week what we're playing for, and that is the beautiful RN trophy. And we are gonna go to the table now. Lucas, can you guess where you're placing?
5th, probably.
Yeah, he's 5th.
Yeah, Edge has jumped above you, mate.
He's 5th in a 4-horse race. You're the one with the 3-legged donkey in this race.
It seems so. I'm guessing I'm last.
Yeah, so you're last with 26 points. Closely followed by me with 34 points. There's been Scott on 38 points in second place, and Rob, you are currently top of the table with 39 points.
A point in it.
Hey, it's closer than I thought. That's you winning the Rumble
close.
As well, the double pointer on the Rumble.
It's so close.
It's the mask.
I'm going to come and burn that mask.
No.
Just think, had we picked slightly differently, so had Scott not gone for Bailey,
had
you not gone for the bonus point in the Drew match?
You're
right. Oh, the bonus point!
So you can blame the Miz for it because he's the Miz and he's awful. So yeah, that's obviously what the table looks like at the moment. We've got Elimination Chamber coming up next, where everything can change. There's obviously going to be 6 people in one. There's probably going to be more than one, so that we'll have a choice of 6 people. We'll obviously figure out how we're going to do scoring for that, and we are now, boys, well and truly on the road to WrestleMania. I don't know what the tagline is this year. The grandest stage of all, where it all begins again. Showcase of the Immortals.
Put it in the Ric Flair drip. Oh yeah.
And it's gonna take place from the James Raymond Stadium if they get Hulk Hogan to introduce it. So.
Well, let's see. I'm excited to be on the road to WrestleMania, and we'll see how it goes.
Exactly. So there we have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, don't forget to check back at rebnoise.com. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media platforms you can find us. Don't forget to go back and check out the predictions videos. They were pretty fun to do. Don't forget as well, Scott's going to be covering it as well on Talk.
Bit more Rumble talk for you. I've got plenty more to say.
So yeah, that's it from us, guys. We hope you take care, stay safe, and we will see you for Elimination Chamber predictions next month or this month.
Well,
see you later.
See ya.
Let me get with my cat 1 second. Let me
no worries, man.
Go sort your pussy out.
Look like you barricaded yourself in.
Like, she's strong,
Come back with an hammer.
Here's Kenny.
You just start hearing some random scratching at the door.
You know what? Let's put the chair there as well. There we go. Everything's there.
It's like Scooby Doo, isn't it?